Terve! Mun nimi on Trent Pancy, mä oon amerikkalainen ja mä oon improvisaatioteatterin näyttelijä ja tuottaja ja opettaja ja mies.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you feeling tonight? Let me hear ya!
I always knew I wanted to be a performer, but I didn't know how to make it happen in a realistic way because I'm from a really small town in Michigan, and where I'm from, it's the Midwest of the US, and you're supposed to, put aside your dreams and roll up your sleeves and do work. But when I was growing up, I had no access to sort of show business other than watching TV, and it was something that I always wanted to do, but I really never assumed that I could. It didn't seem like it was tangible. But I've been performing my whole life. When I was 4, I was in a play in my school in French, The Three Little Pigs, and I was a big bad wolf. When I went to college, the first maybe 2 or 3 days I was there was my college improv team, the improv team at my school was doing a show, and I saw it and it just blew my mind. And so I auditioned for that team, and I did not get in. And I started taking theater classes, and I started doing theater more seriously, and then I kept going to rehearsals and workshops and classes, and still didn't get in, and I tried for 3 years before I finally actually got on the team my senior year. And since then I don't think I've gone more than 2 months without doing a show. So I moved to Finland. My wife is Finnish, and I moved here in 2010, and I've been sort of since then doing performing, producing, and teaching improv comedy as a professional for about 4 years, and then I've also started doing some stand-up and some other stuff as well.
I just want to tell you, someday we're going to have world peace. And someday I'm going to own a roller coaster in my own backyard. And someday I'm going to be a gazelle. Wake up!
I assumed that when I moved to Finland I would be done doing improv because I had no clue if there was much of an improv scene here, and it's been the exact opposite. I've carved out a niche here in Finland for myself, but also in Europe.
Oh, yeah. I will pick you up and I will wring your neck.
Well, when I first moved here, I went maybe 8 months without doing any improv, and I was slowly going insane, and I ended up actually just teaching a couple of kids that I went to school with some classes and stuff, and eventually I found someone in Jyväskylä who was an improviser, the first person I met, and he agreed to do some shows with me in English. We did a show in Jyväskylä where I met people from Snorkeli, the Tampere's sort of bigger Finnish team, and I met with them and said, hey, I live in Tampere, we should do something in English. And we got together and we decided to form a team, and we called ourselves Yada Yada, and now we've been together for 4 years. I think it's for the audience, it's the idea that you can come and see someone. Most people, the first couple improv shows they see, if it's a good show, they'll approach the team and say, no way you guys made that up, how much of that was scripted? It's this idea that we think that in order to present something as a story or entertainment or whatever it is, that it has to be this polished level of something, whereas with improv you can train the techniques and the skills and learn how to make it look polished without it being polished. So for the audience, I think it's the idea of, I'm going to go and I'm going to shout out a suggestion and see how they incorporate that into the show so you could be part of it. For the performers, it's this exhilarating experience of going up there with nothing in mind and being interesting. So, I don't really have a personal life. My life is all some form of comedy or performance or producing something or creating something, or it's being home. Luckily, I've been able to make sort of all my hobbies become also my career, but the double-edged sword there is that I don't have many hobbies at the moment because I don't have time, because we have 2 young kids, and it takes a lot of my day. And actually, any of my stand-up I always talk about my family, and people can't understand why, but that's because the only things I do really are comedy-related or family-related, and doing comedy about comedy is much harder than comedy about your family. So I would just like to find ways to continue to grow personally and artistically, but also be able to get it to a point where I do have a better balance between work and family. And it'd be nice to, go to the gym every once in a while or something too, or, go play Frisbee golf. Find a way to work those things back in.
My name is Trent. Thank you guys very much. Have a good night.